What is good, everyone? I am back solo on vacation, but the work never stops. All of these hammers are ready to rock, including some from the draft stream and going forward. So if you do not see your hammer yet on this show, it is still to come. We have not forgot about it. We have a system in place to make sure every question gets put on a stream. And if you've had one that you think has gotten skipped from prior, please let us know. Reach out to myself, comment on the video, send an email to Clay at Dynasty Trades in 5. Reach out to us. We'll get to your hammer and we'll make sure that it didn't get skipped. So I'm going to start with some shout outs from the draft stream. M. Erickson, 25, no trade. Great work this evening. 5 hammers. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much. Same with Levon, NFL draft stream, 5 hammers. Levon, appreciate the donation, my friend. Mr. Marcus Myers won the live roster review with Shane and Scott. Looking forward to doing that with you, Marcus. I've seen you in the Destination Debbie Discord for a while. You're always in there during the AMAs, and Ray's never said a bad word about you. So congrats, my brother. $25 in hammers, and looking forward to the roster review with you. Girth Brooks, my fucking fam. Love you, boys. Mr. Girth Brooks, thank you for the 5 hammers. Shout out to you. Always see you on the streams as well. Dumpy Space. Let's go, Dumpy Space. 10 hammers. Let's go, boys. Beating the business. Dallas taking a wide receiver for old Ray G. They did take a receiver, Ryan Flournoy. Apparently, some people are saying Ryan Flournoy is the wide receiver 2 on Dallas. We will see, but appreciate the 10 hammers. More from Girth Brooks, my MFing boys putting on a fire show. Ray off the Shay, all the boys crushing. You're not a part of the DTI5 crew and really fuck with Dynasty. What are you doing? $25 in hammers from Girth Brooks. Appreciate you, dude. Bogus. I got to count these hammers. They're sometimes hard to count. 8 hammers. Thank you for all that you do. Just an appreciation post. Thank you. Thank you. And it's never tireless to say thank you. But I mean, we can't say thank you enough. Like everyone that is supporting us, whether it's just leaving a comment, engaging, submitting a hammer back in the day with the super chats, being part of the community. This is why we do this. This is what I'm about. This is what Clay's about. This is what Shane's about. This is what the Trades in 5 brand was about. Quick story. Before we formed Trades in 5, Shane and I had our own communities. Some people remember those. My own solo Dynasty and Chill LLC, and then Shane's with Dynasty Trades HQ. We had our own communities. These communities formed with just fans of our podcast and jumping into a group me, and the group me became a rocking place where we all got to know each other, started leagues. That's where we met Clay. That's how the show was formed. I had known Ray throughout the process. He had his own community. I had always been a part of his community, but it's just a beautiful thing to see all of it come together. And we have like this super community now. I mean, there's almost 1,500 people that are a part of the DD community, over 1,000 in the Discord, and everybody comes together to help each other out. So just appreciate it again. I can't say it enough, but I know you want to get to some of these trade questions. So I'm going to try to get all the hammer thank yous out of the way. Justin Kaufman. No, Justin Kaufman, good dude. I'll thank you for the 8 hammers, Justin. Joe Cedillo. I'll RSVP my trade question. Weekend draft streams have been great. Thank you, Joe, for that 6 hammers. Big Irish Jeff. You guys are filling up the screen with cock strong. Man, some of these are great. Thank you for the hammer, Jeff. Rumbling 55. Keep grinding, fellas. That's what we do. That is literally what we do. We are always grinding. And again, I'm not going to preach, but like Shane, myself, Ray, Clay, everybody with Trades in 5 that helps us out, whether it be Roman, who helps load the hammers and help prepare us for the streams, Terrell Sanford. I mean, talk about somebody that does work behind the scenes. If it wasn't for him, Clay, myself, Shane, we would be lost in terms of being organized. Our editor, Liam, good dude, sharp Dynasty player. Like all of these people make the channel possible. We're the front-facing ones that people know of, but those people behind the scenes really, really help us out and make it seamless so that the show comes off as a pretty professional operation. Ty DeClaire, forgot about Ty DeClaire. I mean, talk about a rising talent in the industry, and his on-camera work and his ability to articulate trades has just been absolutely awesome. So shout out to Ty. Kanja, one of our roster reviewers, has done many quality reviews in the past, really helps us out in the Discord, especially when we do the AMAs and the stages, somebody that will take care of some of the logistics while we are trying to go live. So thank you, everybody that submitted the hammers, either during the draft stream, after the draft stream. Thank you for those, but let's get to some trades. So someone, as Clay pointed out the other night, someone is not a person. It is what comes across on the hammer streams if somebody submits a question without a name, apparently. So one hammer, 12-team Superflex, PPR, half, tight end premium, so 1.5. Start 8, 4-point per passing touchdown. Goff, Gino, AOC, A-Chain, Warren, Connor, Jefferson, CD, Puka, Kittle, Henry, 102, 104, 202, 209, 3, 25 seconds, 101, Marvin Harrison, 103, once wide receiver. Interesting. Take Caleb and Daniels, then target receiver at 202, or take Neighbors and QB, target Brooks or Penix with 202, or move for a 25 first. Well, in a start 8, first of all, I'm going to answer the second part of the question first. I'm always trading the 202 for a 25 first. In a start 8, that's magnified even higher because of the fact that it's a start 8. The threshold you have to hit somebody that matters in a start 8 is so much higher that the 202 is an automatic sell. So back to the original question, how do we play this? Obviously, this team is very good. It's got serviceable quarterbacks in a 12-teamer. Not strong, but serviceable. But it's a start 8. And we got A-Chain, and we got 2 other decent running backs with Warren and Connor. That's fine. But we got JJ, CD, Puka. So we got 3 hammers at receiver right there. So this team, I wouldn't say it's a favorite, but when you add in the value of these picks, could be a favorite if you add a couple pieces to it. Tight end, we have Kittle. But how do we play this? Knowing that Marvin Harrison's going to go 101. So if Marv goes 101, we're sitting on Caleb. Listen, I don't mind taking Caleb. If you know 103 wants a wide receiver, I think it comes down to how do you value Caleb Williams. If you know that's going to be the case, I have no problem taking Malik Neighbors at 102, betting on another, doesn't even have to be super elite receiver, but just somebody that's in the top 12, 15. If you get that out of Malik Neighbors, which is what we expect, he fits in a start 8 even. So I think that's a safe pick. I'd be fine with Malik Neighbors, Jaden Daniels. I'd want to have my cake and eat it too. Can I move up, get Caleb Williams and Malik Neighbors? I don't know what it would take. I don't know if you can add the 202 to the 104 to get the 103. Now it depends. If that manager kind of sees what you're trying to do and knows you do not want to take 2 quarterbacks, might force your hand. On the contrary, if they need a receiver and you take Malik Neighbors at 2, does that then force their hand? Meaning you've put it on them now to get a receiver out of Caleb Williams. Maybe they do. So the alternative would be, could you get a receiver out of Caleb Williams and end up with Jaden Daniels? You know you're getting Jaden Daniels at 4. Can you trade Caleb Williams for a better receiver than Malik Neighbors? Those would be my options. I would try to get the 103 first, but if you can't do that, maybe see what you can get for the Caleb Williams pick, knowing that Marv's going to go 101. So thank you, someone, for the hammer. Got another 2 hammers from J Fims, 10 teams, start 9, Superflex, Allen, T-Law, Watson, Minshew, Bijan, Najee, Pollard, Jerome Ford, Chase, Wilson, London, Rashee Rice, Ridley, Andrews, McBride, 105, no 25s or 26s. So it's a start 9, 10-teamer, very shallow, 90 starters, equivalent in a 12-team, yes, like 7.5 starters. So think about that. If I said 12-team start 7, I mean, you would literally put the criteria of what's as good as a starter as extremely high. So then you count the players. How many players do we have that fit that? McBride, Bijan, Chase, Allen. I mean, quickly we get to a point where it's like, man, this team's already pretty stacked. And you have the 105. So 105, what I don't want here is a quarterback, obviously. So how do I get Malik Neighbors? Can I move up and get Malik Neighbors? We don't have a lot of flexibility here. But how do I get Neighbors? What can I move to get Neighbors? Can I move Deshaun Watson and just ride with T-Law and Minshew as my QB 2 and 3? But I want to end up doing something with that 105. What I don't want to do is end up taking, I don't want Brock Bowers, not with Andrews and McBride. I don't want a quarterback. Like, I'm not interested in getting JJ McCarthy or Drake May. I guess if you have to settle, definitely I'm taking Rome Odunze over any quarterback here. Taking Odunze over Daniels. I'm taking Odunze over May, McCarthy, easy. You just kind of hope that you can get Malik Neighbors. I'm trying to get Neighbors. Do what you got to do to get Neighbors. So here we got a trade. Should have read the second part of the question because I was already thinking about what I was talking about. Traded the 105 traded for the 105. Okay. Gave my 26 first, 205, 207. Okay. That's a great trade because you go up a 26 first and 2, I don't want to say innocuous pieces, but they're second rounders. Traded for Rashee Rice and Najee Harris, gave DK Metcalf in the 407. Okay. I don't hate that. You got a free Najee Harris. That's the key part of it. Honestly, the receivers in that range between DK and Rashee Rice, obviously I'd rather have DK at this point, but both of them are kind of right on the fringe of being startable. Rice is probably below it. But point is, those deals are done. So back to my original point, you didn't address that because you had traded for the 105. I'm trying to move the 105 to get Neighbors. That's the goal. If I have to make the pick, I'm taking a Dunze. I'm not drafting Bowers. I'm not drafting a quarterback. And if that means you just move out the pick because you just can't maneuver the board, sometimes these boards are tough to maneuver because it's not that it's impossible to get the pick. It's impossible to deal with the managers that have the picks. Meaning if they already have a plan in mind, I mean, think about it. If you're thinking one specific thing and then they're thinking a similar specific thing, it's going to be hard to get a trade done. It's not that the value's not off. You go, hey, I would move the 105 in 2 seconds for the 104. There'd be cases where I would take that trade. because I don't care what I'm getting at the 104%. So like in a league like this, if neighbors went 103, of course I would move the 104 down and get an extra piece. Maybe not 2 seconds, but the point is the motivation of doing the trade is difficult to swing versus the actual value. You can offer the value, but the person's motivation, because you're looking at a limited board, right? It's just this rookie class. It's just the same, top 6 to 8 rookies that you're dealing with. So people see those probably much more rigidly than they would the player pool throughout the rest of Dynasty. So thank you for the question, JFMs. All right, let's spend some time on this one. 6 hammers, Cameron Ward Truther. Shout out to Cameron Ward Truther. We'll see how he does this year at Miami. 12 teams, Superflex start 10. We got Stroud, AOC, nothing. Okay. Gibbs, no other running backs, so I assume very similar, nothing. Waddle, Higgins, Quentin Johnston, Mims, Pitts. All right, it gets pretty ugly quickly after Stroud, Gibbs, Waddle, Higgins. Pitts at tight end. So we have 5 assets, really. I mean, QJ, Mims, AOC, you could sell those guys, meaning like you just liquidate them. Give me what I can get. Can I get a second for Marvin Mims? Can I get a second for Aiden O'Connell? Can I get a second for Quentin Johnston? Those are regressive probably on all 3. But the point is, all 3 of them could go for just liquidation. Don't even care about the need to have players like that, even if I don't have any other players. Next part of the question was, do I need... Well, no. Let me read the rest. 108 this year, 204 this year. So 2 top 16 picks. 205 this year, 3 top 17 picks. 212, 303, 304, 306, and then 225 ones, 225 twos. Rebuilding, need a second QB to go with CJ Stroud. By looking at my league's draft order projection, it seems like I'll be looking at something like Knicks, which really doesn't excite me. Knicks worth 108. No, because you're going to get McCarthy, May, or Bowers, or Dunze at 108. So I'm not reaching on Bo Nix at the 108. Now, depending on how sharp your league is, I think there's a shot that at the 204, Michael Penix is there. And it's basically Knicks at 108. Doesn't excite me. What should I do with those picks? Let's go back to the original question. Spend a little time on this one just because Cameron Ward Truther gave us 6 hammers. So yes, this team's rebuilding. It only has 5 real assets, excluding the draft picks. 108, I'm fine taking the Dunze if he's there. It's not tight end premium. Do I really want to take Bowers? Here's the thing. I ideally don't want to take Bowers. I'm taking Bowers over everybody else in the class, though. So if I ended up getting Bowers because he fell at the 108 and I just can't trade, I can't move down a spot and pick up an extra second, nothing creative can happen with the trade, I'm fine taking Bowers because you're betting on an elite tight end. You already have Pitts, you have Bowers. The key with something like that, don't roster another tight end. Literally, don't roster another tight end. Those are your 2 tight ends. You have a year to see what Bowers is. You have a year that maybe one of the 2 emerges into an elite tight end, and if so, worry about it next year. But performance, I guess the good thing about it is you don't really care how they perform next year. If they perform good, it doesn't hurt you or help you necessarily. Maybe it raises your draft pick a spot or 2. The point is you're taking a shot at an elite tight end and you have basically a free year to see what they end up being. Now, 204, 205, 212, 303, 304, 306. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks between 204 and 306. There's a lot of good players in this class. I've picked more in this range than I probably should have, just because there's a lot of interesting players. So just kind of go through some of my rostership here. I mean, I have 8 shares of Jalen McMillan, 7 shares of Jermaine Burton, 6 shares of Javon Baker, 4 Roman Wilson, 5 Luke McCaffrey, 3 Ricky Pearsall. Lad McConkey usually goes higher. 3 Malachi Corley, 2 Troy Franklin, 2 Xavier Legette, 3 Jalen Polk, and then some running backs that go in that range. Blake Corum, 4 shares of Blake Corum. Ray Davis, 5 shares of Ray Davis, 4 shares of Marshawn Lloyd, 3 shares of Kamani Vidal, 2 shares of Trey Benson, 1 share of Jalen Wright. So there's a lot of interesting players. Now, there's been others where I've traded out, but in a rebuild, I don't mind taking some shots. The first thing, if you really want to secure a quarterback, I'm going after Penix here. How do I get Penix? Can I move up from the 204 to 201? 112? I don't know. It just depends. You got to have to read your league. Is somebody going to take Penix? Good thing is Penix sometimes goes after Nix just because Penix isn't going to start right away, so people prefer Nix. On a team like this, I would much prefer Penix because I don't have any points probably. I have what I think is the better asset going forward, and I don't care about the 2024 starts. So how do I get Penix? I have no problem combining any of the 2 other picks you have. Obviously not the 25 first, but essentially 204 and what? If it took 204 and 205 to move up to 112 to get Penix, I'd be fine doing it. I'd probably start with the 204 and the 303, see if I can move up to the 112. And it may not be until on the clock. Now, the risky thing is if it's on the clock and people know what you're trying to do, it might be tougher to make the trade. But I'm trying to get Penix, and it just depends on how people behave in your league with those picks. A lot of my leagues, people are willing to move those picks because they look at, well, Penix is a decent asset, but I'd rather have Keon Coleman or Ladd McConkey. I'll move back a couple picks. I'm fine going back to the 202, 203, 204. Maybe they like Trey Benson. They like Trey Benson. Like, you're going to get Keon Coleman or Trey Benson guaranteed at the 203 or 204. If you factor in that Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, and Ladd McConkey are in a tier, Trey Benson, Keon Coleman are in that tier. Jonathan Brooks is in that tier. Bo Nix and Michael Penix. That's 8 picks after the 108. So right there, you do the math. 204 is kind of the quote unquote tier break if you consider Trey Benson to be in that tier. And I've seen Trey Benson go much higher. So I'm trying to move up. Otherwise, once you get to that 205 and beyond, you're making some quality picks, but you're also probably making the picks unless somebody just really has to have a player. So if you have some picks and you don't know what to do with them, use your clock. This is the type of team I would use my draft clock. I'm not sitting there and just making the picks. I'd rather use my draft clock, see if somebody's willing to give me an extra second to move down from 205 to 210. Like, that kind of deal is what you want to do as a rebuilding team. So thank you for the hammers. It's a good question talking through some of that draft strategy, because we can sit here all day and say this is what I would do. But even me, like, I've been in a lot of drafts where I'm like, man, I need to get some of these picks. And I go, yeah, do I need another share of Jermaine Burton? Do I need my 10th Jermaine Burton? Like, I have to resist myself making all those picks. And I had a lot of thirds and a lot of seconds this year. So I have been probably pretty disciplined at not making every pick, but there's still some drafts, especially when there's teams where I go, I wish I had some shots on these guys. And then there's some teams where I don't need shots on players and I still made the picks. So just have some discipline, but thank you again for the 6 hammers. That was Cam Ward Truther. Mason Perlman, 6 more hammers. Thank you, Mason. 12-team Superflex, 1.5 tight end premium, 4-point passing touchdown, start 11. Thank you for the thoroughness, answering each aspect of the league info. Tua, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold. I got Breece Hall, Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders, Kendre, Cans, Tyreek, Ayuk, Addison, Devontae, Laporta, Komet, 105, 6, 10, 205, 6, 225 first, 725 seconds. Okay. So kind of a similar build to the previous team. A little bit of a different league format, but I would say similar amount of assets that you're working with, Mason. Thoughts on what to do with these first? Okay, so it's a start 11, 4-point per passing touchdown. So you're probably chasing a certain archetype in QB, which you don't have. You don't probably have access to that QB here in this format. So I'm probably going to be willing to move up that 105 a spot if I can, because I would prefer Neighbors over the quarterbacks, even with your situation here. I'd prefer Daniels probably over Neighbors, but I'd love to get into that tier without paying much. Can I give up the 105 and the 205 and get the 104 and a 25 second? Now, the tricky thing is here, you have 25 seconds, meaning there's going to not be a lot of readily available 25 seconds that you can trade for, because you literally already have over half of them. Maybe pivot to a 26. Again, 105 and 205 for 104 and a 26 second. I don't mind the 26 second here, because again, it's just capital. I don't care if I have to wait an extra year. It's capital that if I ever need to buy something and this team isn't really ready to buy anything, I can just use it and stash it for later. So what else to do with the rest of the picks? I mean, 105, 106, you're probably fine taking one quarterback if you're stuck picking at the 206 or the 106, May or McCarthy. I'd be fine taking Bowers. You do have Laporta, but if you can move Komet for like a third, I'd be fine taking Bowers. You don't need Bowers though. I'd be fine taking Rome Odunze if you want to do that. If you just don't trust the drafting JJ McCarthy or Drake May and don't want to add another tight end, then just take Odunze. When you get to that 5-6, it doesn't really matter who you take. If you don't want a quarterback, I have no problem somebody just saying, I'm taking Odunze. He's a receiver that was drafted in the top 10. And I'm kind of punting. I mean, because we know what the market, I think this is a cool lesson. You know what the market will do if Odunze is good but not great. He'll get a pass, right? He's got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. He's got a rookie quarterback. I don't expect him to be a Hall of Famer from day one. Drake May doesn't look good right away. Okay, he'll get a little bit of a pass because it's the Patriots. But if he just looks bad, even though bad could mean because Alex Van Pelt's an awful offensive coordinator, because his weapons are Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, his best receivers, and they are day 2, day 3 receivers. Like, that's not encouraging for a rookie to smash. I don't know if Drake May gets a ton of a pass. JJ McCarthy will not get a pass. If he doesn't play well, this is seen as the dream landing spot with better weapons. He's got a top 5 tight end, the best receiver in the league, and then another top 24 receiver in Addison, and supposedly an elite play caller with Kevin O'Connell. So JJ will not get a pass. So I think there's a world where both these QBs are disappointing, and Rome Odunze is seen as a success. So if you want to just defer having to draft a QB, punt for next year, especially with your own pick, probably going to have to make some work to move guys like Tyreek, the running backs. I mean, I don't know what you could even move the running backs for. You could move Breece if you wanted, but I'd be fine if you built around Sam Laporta, Breece Hall, Brandon Ayuk, but even those guys, if somebody came with the right offer, I'd be willing to move them. So this is definitely a team where you got to, again, like I gave to the previous person that asked the question, work the board. Don't rush your picks here. If you got 4 hours, if you got 8 hours, maximize the clock, but be flexible. That's going to be the theme with this show, is be flexible. Do not be tied to, I can't move Tua. I can't move Bryce Young because I don't have quarterbacks, so I can't move those guys. I can't move Breece Hall because he's my best player. I can't move Brandon Ayuk or Jordan Addison or Devontae Smith because they're my only young receivers. Like, be flexible. It's all about accruing value. This team isn't ready to win. It's not completely awful, but it's also not ready to win. So if you can make some creative moves strictly for value, you should be able to tank your team into the top 4, top 3 next year and then be ready to go in 2025. And you do have an extra first and a bunch of seconds, so you'll have more control of the draft next year. Next up, man, 6 hammers from my boy Yacker. Yancey, what's up, Yancey? Thank you. As a Heisman member, this is just one for all that you do for us. Bro, thank you. You didn't need to do that, but we appreciate you. Really cool seeing you back in the mix with things. So hopefully we see you around more, Yancey, but thank you very much for the 6 hammers. Come on, Ty Declare. Well, no, maybe it isn't Ty Declare because it says greetings from Aruba. Ty's in Canada. So we're talking about literally opposite sides of North America there, or Central America, or whatever you want to call it. So thank you, Ty, for the, what do we got here? 10 hammers. What an immersive live stream. You guys are all studs. 12 team super flex. Start 10, half point tight end premium PPR, constantly playing tug of war with my league mates to get trades done. See what we got next. There's a lot of core team, but ultimately one of us scratches on the 8 ball. What would your strategy be in this case? Do I need to be more aggressive? Thank you again for all the great content. Please shout out a happy early birthday to Alexa. Happy early birthday to Alexa. All right, back to the original question. Constantly playing tug of war with my league mates to get trades done. A lot of courting, but ultimately one of us scratches on the 8 ball. What would your strategy be in this case? Yeah, I mean, it's a vague question without having like a specific example of one of these interactions. It would be hard to really judge. But ultimately, one of the things that Shane and I say every time we complete a roster review or we're going through a roster review with somebody is 95% of the time, Shane is sending out the trade. 95% of the time, I am sending out the trade. He sends out more trades than me. I'm probably more vocal publicly about what I want to do, meaning I'll just put it in the chat. This is what I'm trying to do. These are my prices. This is the type of deal I want. I'm in too many leagues. I have too many things going on to really go back and forth and court, per se. And I use that in quotes because that's the words that Ty used, is courting, like haggling, going back and forth, asking, hey, what do you think about doing this? Or what do you think about making this deal? And I'm just like, this is the type of deal I'm looking for. I have this pick. I'm looking to split it into 2 pieces. I have this pick. I'm looking to add something to it to get X. And then let people come to me. They may not come to me with the deal that I want to take, but at least I've established the type of trade that I'm looking to get. I'll do the auto accept trade block, meaning if I'm trying to liquidate for picks, here's the prices. And I'm not picky. I don't care if you're giving me your 25 third, your 26 third, any third. I don't care if I say I'm looking for a second for this player. I'm not going to go and look at your team and go, ooh, that's a good team, man. That's going to be the 212 next year. Any second. And sometimes, what's funny is when you put that out there and you keep it flexible, sometimes the teams you didn't expect to be buyers will buy. Oh, I didn't know that team was actually looking to buy a running back. That's kind of a middle of the pack team, and I just netted a 25 second from a middle of the pack team. I had that the other day where I put Jalen Warren on the block. Any second and third. Don't care what year. I have a ton of Jalen Warren. This is a team where it's a start 1 running back, so I devalue him a little bit, but I have like 7 good running backs. 7 guys that are in the Jalen Warren, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary. Like, I don't need 7 of those guys. So I just said any second and any third. Team offers me not just a 25 second and a 25 third. So they didn't even try to go to 26. They just gave me their 25s. And I look at the team, it wasn't even in the playoffs last year. I would have never probably thought that team, if I would have sent them the offer, would have paid it. But instead, because I gave them the price tag, I didn't knock on their door and say, here, want to buy this item? I just put the price tag on the item and laid it there in plain view. And that person justified that in their head going, you know what? I'm ready to take a shot. I'll send this price. And because I listed the price, there's no haggling, there's no courting, there's no sweet talking. Matt can't really pay a second and a third. How about a second? Or how about a second and a third and you give me back a 26 third? Like, there's none of that. It's either you like it or you don't. Now, the key is, this is the key to the auto accept trade block. You need to have prices that are acceptable. The goal 95% of the time is to not try to make a profit. You are trying to just get the deal done. The goal is a lot of times just liquidation. Like, I just want a couple picks and here's the players I'm willing to move. Not, I only can move this player and I have to have this price. It is, here's 5 players. I'm flexible. Maybe I don't move all 5, but I'll move 2 of them. And here's the general prices. You decide if it's worth. So always a good idea, especially with the league like yours, Ty, where nobody wants to make the big move without kind of haggling or going back and forth. All right, Bogus, another huge hammer. We got 8 hammers here. 14 teams, Superflex start 10, Hertz, Kyler, A-Rich, Rich, Kendre Miller, Chase Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Jordan Addison, JSN, Trey McBride, 106 and 225 ones. Would you trade A-Rich in a future first for 102 Marvin Harrison? No. Now, you're probably wondering, well, I have 3 quarterbacks. That's a problem. If this is the absolute best deal you can get, then I'm not going to tell you it's a terrible deal. I still wouldn't do it unless I do this. Here's the steps. First of all, why A-Rich? Why A-Rich? How do you rank these quarterbacks? Is it Hurts, Kyler, A-Rich? Is it Hurts, A-Rich, Kyler? That's the first thing. You got to figure out what order you have them in. It's probably Hurts, Kyler, A-Rich. That's the way you listed it. Subconsciously, you put them in the order that you prefer them. So I'm guessing that's the order. But also, why just A-Rich? How about any of the 3? Open. This is one of those situations. To the last question. Hey, League, you can do this in the chat. If you're in Discord, you can do it in a voice message. There's a lot of ways you can go about this. Hey, League, I have 3 top 10 quarterbacks here. I'd like to move one. I'd like to move one in a deal where I pick up some value. I pick up a stud skill player and maybe a little piece on top. Here's the type of deal I'm looking at. And it could just be I'm looking for a future first and a receiver. I'm looking for a future first and a running back. I'm looking for a receiver and a pick in the top 8 of this draft. Whatever it might be. But you put it out there. Let them come to you, but the key is you give them options. You know who I would move? Jalen Hurts. You know who I'd also move? Kyler Murray. Of course I'll move A-Rich, but I'm not limiting it to A-Rich because my market might be 4 teams if I'm open to trading any of the 3. Maybe it's 1 team with A-Rich. And that 1 team that likes A-Rich has just shot their shot, right? They just offered Marvin Harrison for A-Rich in a future first. Now, I'm not doing that because it's too much, but you know that team is interested in A-Rich. You know they're willing to move that 102. Maybe this speaks to the QB market. Maybe there's a reason you have these 3 QBs. But again, if you have a stuck market where it just seems stagnant and you're stuck with 3 QBs and you're desperately trying to get hammers at other positions and you can't, be flexible. Don't try to just jam the A-Rich trade to somebody because what you're going to end up doing, getting frustrated as we get closer to the season, you're going to accept the random Roma Dunze in a first for A-Rich because that's the best you can do. So get out in front of it, be flexible on who you trade. So thank you, Bo, just for the question. Here we go. Mason with the hammer. 12 teams start 12, 2 tight end, PPR, 1 point tight end premium. Okay, so I'm assuming it's 2 PPR here. PPR and then a extra tight end premium point. That's how I'll assume it is. 0.15 point per carry. So this is a legit league. Add some point per carry, 2 PPR, start 12, start 2 tight ends, if that's correct. Kyler, Christian Watson, Josh Downs, Sam Laporte, Noah Fant, 101, 2, 9, 11, 13, or 12, 3 2s and 325 firsts. Okay, for a second I'm thinking, okay, wait, 3 2s. What are those 2s? That does matter what 2s those are, I think. And then 325 firsts. Initially expected to take Bowers, given the tight end premium and the lineup settings. Now I'm not so sure. So, I mean, it's a good problem to have. I think that comes down for me. This is a format you could definitely justify Bowers. You could justify Bowers 101, truthfully, right? It's a super flex. I don't know the quarterback scoring, but it's a 2 PPR, 2 tight end. Having an elite tight end. So having Laporta and Bowers is extremely, extremely powerful. However, and here would be my litmus test, Mason. I don't know when your draft is. I don't know if you've had it. Hopefully you haven't. And if you see this question beforehand, maybe chime back in on the next stream as a follow-up. What can you get for Sam Laporta in this league? And the reason I'm saying that is that's testing what the tight end market is. If the tight end market is strong enough for you to drop Brock Bowers at 101 or 102, then it should be strong enough for you to basically name your price for Sam Laporta. So like I should be able to go and get Jamar Chase for Sam Laporta, Justin Jefferson for Sam Laporta, CeeDee Lamb for Sam Laporta. I should get to the table at quarterback. I should be able to go get Anthony Richardson, Joe Burrow. And if you try to get those guys and it's, man, I can't do it. Even though the tight end premium, even though it's 2 tight end, if that's the Laporta market, it's a bigger gamble for you to draft Bowers at 102. Where it's not a gamble is you go Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison. Now that's leaning against the format a little bit, but it's for the market given what you just said about Sam Laporta's trade value. So you got to test things like that to really truly know what the pulse is for one of these elite tight ends. And I'm not saying Bowers is Laporta, or people will like Laporta even as much as they like Bowers. But the point is you want to test the market to determine. Because if my league is telling me, Sam Laporta, I don't even think I'd give you the 104 for Sam Laporta. Why are you about to drop back Brock Bowers at the 102? So sometimes you got to test out the market with other players to figure out what it might be for players you're going to draft. Let's get to this one. Robert A, thank you for the 3 hammers. 12 teams start 8 super flex, 0.5 tight end premium, 4 point per passing touchdown. Get a drink here. Murray, Cousins, Levis, Fields. Okay. So we're rocking with a kind of haphazard QB room, but it can get by. We got Kyler. We got 3 other guys that either should start, will start, or might start. So, okay, it's a start 8. I'm good at quarterback. We got Warren as our only running back. Amon-Ra, Rashee Rice, Judy Downs, Laporta. 101, 103, 201. Guy at 102 only has Carr as a QB. Likely he just takes the best QB or trades. Okay, so I'm going Marvin Harrison at 101, obviously. 4 point per passing touchdown, and it's a start 8. Give me the shot at a hammer at a position where I'm already weak. So I think that's an easy one, especially knowing what you just said. If you know 102 is just going to go Caleb Williams, can you posture by the fact that you think he's going Caleb Williams no matter what? Will we give you anything to trade up? Now, the problem is it's a start 8, but back to the thing we've talked about over the last couple sessions is in shallow leagues, and I will encourage everybody to sign up for the Discord. We did a long show. I did a solo show in the Discord for an hour. And any of you that are in shallow leagues, start 9s, start 8s, even start 10s, 10-team leagues oftentimes are start 9, start 10. If you're in shallow leagues, you do not want to miss the opportunity to listen to the solo show. I did a roster construction war strategy show on shallow leagues because a lot of times the content that we're giving is deep leagues, 12 teams start 12, but there's a lot of people that ask questions like this: 12 teams start 8, 10 teams start 9. So I did about an hour long show, and I do shows, Shane and I, us 3, we do AMAs, we do the morning drive on Monday mornings where we just talk Dynasty shop, what we thought about, new things to try throughout the week. But there's a Discord only pod feed where you get probably 5 to 10 hours of extra content a week. So check that out. But I did a solo show going through shallow league strategy. And a lot of times the premise is you can't get hammers. Everyone says, oh, just go take all your shitty pieces, right? Go add Judy to Downs to Warren to 103 and go get Patrick Mahomes. People don't do those kind of trades a lot of times. There's a reason that you're asking 3 hammers and you're going, what do? I can't get any hammers because I've tried to throw all my shit against the wall and no one will give me in. So it's an alternative strategy where you actually go the other way. You take multiple shots. Now it's got to be shots where you can re-roll on new players that could help you re-roll again. Give me 3 seconds over the 111 in a league like this. Even though I'm giving up the best player, give me 3 players because all the players, 111 or the 3 seconds, are all below the threshold of what matters. So I'd rather have 3 shots with the shot that any of those could turn into a guy that I could roll for a first. And it's still a lottery ticket that the first is worth more down the road if it's a higher pick. So I'd go to this team. What's the move here? Take Marv on the chance he trades the pick. Let him make the QB decision for me. Thanks for all your work, Shane, Scott, and Clay. Yeah, thank you to Clay and Shane for their work. I'm just here for the ride. So what do I do? 101 and 103. I'm taking Marv. I'm not risking that he takes Marv because he may say or look like he needs a quarterback. But if you go Caleb Williams, he just goes, I take Marv. You know what I mean? I think I definitely want to secure Marv, and I'd be willing to work with him and be like, hey, are you willing to move that 102 to the 103? Is there anything you could give him that would incentivize him to go up or back? Because he's taking Caleb. So if you're willing to pass up on Caleb, I'm fine just going Jaden Daniels and Marvin Harrison. But if you also wanted to go Malik Neighbors, I'm fine doing that too. You got Kyler, you got 3 other QBs, up to you. You're in a great position because you got the 101 and you got the 103. You're getting Marv, you're getting Daniels or Neighbors. Take your pick. Either one of them fits your team. So thank you for the 3 hammers, Robert. 3 more. Robert, again, appreciate you, dude. 12 teams start 10 super flex, half point PPR or half point tight end premium PPR, 4-point passing touchdown, 20-man rosters, Mahomes, Levis, Bijan, Spears, Olave, Addison, Reed, McBride, 101, 102, 104, 202, 209, 211. Assuming I go Marvin, Caleb, advice for the 104. Again, man, how do I get Malik Neighbors on this team? Listen, if you got to take Jaden Daniels, I don't hate it. I do wonder if there's a market for one of your quarterbacks if you take Jaden Daniels. I don't know what the QB market is. Again, what can I add to 104 to get the 103? Because if I can go Marv, I can go Caleb, I can go Malik Neighbors. Talk about an awesome start. Can't ask for much more than that because now you've added Neighbors, Marv, Olave, Addison, Jaden Reed, McBride. You have Bijan, you have Mahomes, you have Levis, and you have Caleb. This team's ready to go. So I'd see what I can do. You said the guy at 103 could go either way. Has A-Rich and Goff as QBs. Am I overthinking this and just taking Neighbors or Daniels at the 4? Would you try to move that pick for something? I'm always trying to move the pick. Preferably I don't need another quarterback. I'm fine with Levis as my 3, knowing I'm taking Caleb and Marv. Shop it. Here's the problem. The person that's trading for it, I'm guessing they may be interested in something specific, but they don't know what that pick is yet. So I'd try to get the 103 just so I can control my destiny. If not, you kind of got to leave it open-ended for trading the 104. Can you add the 202 to the 104 to get the 103? I don't know. It's worth trying. Start 10. Somebody may go for that. So at least offer it, see what it would take to move up. Here's the other thing I would recommend. Don't give your plan away to the 103, but I would go to the 103 and be like, hey, man, we have 4 of the top 4 picks. You and I. I got the 1, 2, and the 4. You got the 3. And just talk to them. Talk to them. See if you can get them to spill what their plan is. Because you know he's got A-Rich in golf. It's the elephant in the room. What's he going to do with that 103? But see if you can get them to kind of spill the beans. Now, it's not a guarantee until they make the pick, but see if you can get them to kind of hint what they're actually going to do, with that pick. And if you know, hey, I'm probably taking Jaden Daniels, he's too good a value, pile on a little bit. Yeah, man, Jaden Daniels could be the next Lamar. Sweet talk it a little bit, but see if you can get a feel to see how aggressive you're going to need to be if you want to move up from that 104. Next one, Revenge to the Smith. Paul Rudd, appreciate it, man. 14 teams, Superflex, tight end, premium, best ball, slow draft at the 12 spot. Plan on going QB, praying for Richardson, staying flexible. Please give me your best advice for newbies. I will share this video. Now, please give me your best advice specific to me, experience at my spot. Thanks, guys. So here's what I would say. It's best ball, right? So best ball totally changes. Go back and listen to the Destination Devy best ball roster construction series where I talk through best ball strategy. I like the idea of going QB. I think in best ball, a couple things to remember with QBs. Hammer QBs matter, but volume at QBs matter more. In a 14-teamer, quarterbacks are going to come off the board faster. But I actually don't care as much about having to get a top 6 QB. I can live with a start if it's like Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence. I can live with that because I want volume at QBs. I don't need hammer QBs. I want volume at QBs. And I'd like to have some stability to where even if I only have 2 starters going into next year, because maybe my third ends up being Aaron Rodgers, and he retires, or a guy that I bet on like Will Levis and he ends up not keeping the job past this year. But I like to have something to fall back on and go, okay, I have my 2 QBs in place. If I ever have 4 or 5 in best ball, that's fine. Totally fine. So if you're going to go QB, think more broadly in terms of who you're willing to take. Don't think, oh man, I can't take Trevor Lawrence over CeeDee Lamb because, well, Trevor Lawrence isn't a hammer. In best ball, how much you can get from a QB room that's built right is a lot more powerful than just having an elite QB or 2. And then on the contrary, what's the opposite of what you would be picking if you don't go QBs? You're probably thinking, man, I'm going to go receiver. What can you do in best ball? Especially, I don't know how many roster spots there are, but if there's a lot of them, you can get by with receiver with just guys that play. You don't need tons of hammers at receiver in a best ball. Maybe you have 1 or 2 top 24-ish, but after that, give me volume. I can win with a bunch of guys you'd never want in a lineup league. Give me Brandon Cooks, give me Elijah Moore, give me those guys in best ball. And I guarantee the market won't always adjust as fast into the best ball format. It'll let a lot of those guys fall further. So quarterback, the floor matters, but having volume matters. Running back, the floor matters a lot more. I don't want to draft running backs that are just on a 53. They need to have a role. So go back and listen to that roster construction series. It's from early 2024 this year, where I walk through some of the tips and tricks of how to build a best ball via roster construction. So thank you for that hammer, Mr. Paul Rudd. Nick, 3 hammers, 12-team Superflex, half PR, start 9. Lamar, Rodgers, Bryce, Mixon, Kamara, depth. Okay. AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Christian, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Travis Kelce, teams on AARP. I was thinking, man, you're just rolling off old dude after old dude after old dude. Offer my inbox a 26 first for his CMC. You are adding to your running back another old player for your 21st. This is just going to say it. Nick. You quote, I'm sure what to do. The war is incredible, but not getting any younger. Would I have enough firepower to compete? Destination Devy League Simulator has me finishing 5th for context. I'll just say this. If you did the deal, you are truly all in. You're pushing picks out 2 years. You're adding another 28-year-old probably in the last 2-3 years of his career. Now, who the hell knows with McCaffrey, man? The guy may play till he's 33. It's possible. But the point is, I'm looking at the other side of this trade going, whoever sent you this deal definitely vetted your roster and went, damn, that's a team I'm willing to bet on in 2026. Talk about a team that is going to take a shit between now and 2026. Give me that 26 first. Hell, that'd be the type of team where I rather have your 26 first than your 25 first, exactly for that reason. So I think I'm probably passing. If you did it, just understand what you're doing, but I'm not going to tell you to do it or not do it. I'm just trying to look at it from all angles, and it's a pretty savvy offer by the team that's sending you that offer. Hammer from Pierre, 12-team start 10, Superflex PPR, Caleb Burrow, Spears, Brooks, Hubbard, Kendre, London, Adunze, Brian Thomas, Leggett, Godwin, Watson, Kincaid, Sanders. I'm assuming that's either Christian Watson. Yeah, probably Christian Watson. And then Dalton Kincaid, Sanders, probably Jatavian, 4 firsts in 25 and 26, mid to late. Inbox offer, give Brooks, get Levis, and a 26 first. I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm doing that trade. I don't even need to know anymore. I'm taking that trade. Dude, you're getting a first. Now you're getting Caleb Burrow. You have Levis, but can you just move Levis? Can you turn Levis into another running back? If you truly, I don't think this team can win, which is why I'm okay doing the deal, but what can I turn that 26 first in? Or I just hold the 26 first, or I try to trade Will Levis, or I just hold Will Levis. I mean, the value's too good for a rookie running back that we've never seen play, so I'm taking the trade. Thank you for the hammer, Pierre. Liam H, 10-team 1QB PPR start 8. So this is one of those shallow leagues. Liam, if you're not part of the Discord, I'm just telling you that this league is right up the alley of what would apply to that league where I did the roster construction and strategy for shallow leagues. So it's a 10-team 1QB PPR start 8 Richardson. So we got a difference maker at QB. 2 is our backup. Fine. Spears, Connor Ford, Chase Brown. All right. Curtis Samuel. I assume that's Curtis Samuel. Is our wide receiver 1? Tyler Lockett. Alan Lazard. I mean, come on, bro. Yeah, my team is horrible. I didn't even get to that part. Yeah, the team's bad. The team is very, very bad. Should I take Marv? Not sure what type of deal I should look for. If not, activity high. So I'm taking Marv. It is a 1 QB start 8. 10-teamer, meaning the power of getting one stud is huge. It's 12.5% of your team in a shallow league. So relative to a league that only is starting 80 players, you're getting, and 10 of those are quarterbacks, and it's a 1 QB. So effectively 70 players, and you are adding probably one of the top 8 players amongst that 70. So it's the 101, and the reason I'm kind of speaking in absolutes here is I don't think there's a deal out there for you to get enough for the 101. It would have to be like another first next year that I'm also looking at a team that sucks, and Puka Nakua. Like that's the type of deal. It has to be a 2-for-1 where I'm giving away Marv and I'm getting back 2 top 15 players or assets. And it's just unlikely somebody's probably going to pay that. So I'm making the pick of Marv. That's the deal, bro. Activity high. If it's high, you know what you should be able to do? Sell everybody else for anything. This is the type of team where I'm gutting everything except for Anthony Richardson and Marv. I don't care what it takes. Give me a 4th for Tyler Lockett. I mean, give me 3rds. Like everything goes. I need freshness. I just need new stuff because none of the stuff you have is worth anything. Connor and Spears maybe are worth something. Everything else, just give me a reroll. Just give me new blood so that I can see what happens. So thank you again, Liam, for the hammer. Eric Lang said 14-team Superflex. Appreciate the hammer, bro. PPR, start 10. A-Rich, Lawrence, Fields, Gibbs, Javonte, Roshan, Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, Lamb, Pittman, Cooper, Nico, Reed, Hawkinson, Kraft, Dulcich, 103, 25 first. So pretty decent team here. We have the 103, pick at 103, Daniels or Neighbors. Yeah, it's a 14-teamer. Neighbors is enticing. Team's good enough to probably win if you can somehow split one of those assets. Here would be my strategy. The plan is Neighbors. The plan is Daniels. I'd be willing to move back a spot if 103 or 104 wants to play ball to try to get my 103. Give me another starter. Give me another running back I can plug in or something like that. Then I'll leave what you take, or I will take what you leave me. Gosh, I'm getting all twisted up on my words. If I can't do that, I've talked about this earlier in the stream, right? You draft Daniels, be willing to move any of your 3 QBs. Put A-Rich and Lawrence on the block right now. Looking to move a QB, especially because you have Fields. I'm totally fine with Fields as my QB. So you're already set at QB. If you think you can extract more value, yes, you should try to make the move to pick up a vet or pick up a package, but don't just limit it to the 103. I already know I have Daniels in tow. Instead, okay, I'm willing to move a quarterback and then just kind of roll with however that's going to roll. And just in case somebody gets tricky at 102 and takes Daniels, great. Don't accept the trade until you're on the clock. But see if you can get offers coming your way to where you're willing to take one, or you have a deal worked out potentially when you see what's on the board, just to make sure that it's Daniels. What you wouldn't want to do is trade A-Rich and then Marv falls to you. Now you're like, damn, I need another quarterback. So just kind of vet it out, but be flexible. Don't be so dialed in that I only can move Jaden Daniels. Keep that flexibility in mind. So thank you for the hammer question. Jay Mookie, 12-team start 10. Trevor Lawrence, Watson, Bijan Brees, Saquon, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Diggs, JSN, Kincaid, 101, 4 through 9. Let's go, bro. 4 through 9. All right, so we have 6 first, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 101. 7 first in the first 9. Both at 2 and 3 need a QB and have their 25 first. Do I box them out or do I just take Marv? So I'm probably fine going Caleb here, knowing if they're going to go Jaden Daniels and Marvin Harrison, that you just take Neighbors because you have the 4. What I don't want to do is take a QB, because what if they don't take QBs? And now you're sitting at the 4 through 9 and you're going, damn, there's at least another QB here that I'm interested in taking. So because you have those other picks, now can you get them, either one of those teams, to move up and give you a 25 first? If I'm 103, I'm probably thinking maybe I'm moving up to get a 25 first. Maybe I give them 101 and I don't know, what can I toss them? You don't really have any throw-in pieces. Can I give them 101 and a future second for the 103 and my 25 first? You have so many picks, like you're going to be able to control this draft, but I'd love to extract some value from those top couple teams that you know they're desperate. One of them's going to get Daniels. One of them's going to have to take Marv over Caleb or over Jaden Daniels. So I think you can try to work with both of them and just see where they're both at with the terms of how they value their future first. So thank you for the hammer. A couple more here. I said I'd go an hour. We're almost getting there. Jay with 3 hammers, 12 team super flex, 2 tight end premium. I'm assuming that's 2 PPR. If it's not, correct me on the next stream, Jay. Start 10, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Dammy Dimes, Jonathan Brooks, rookie darts. Okay. Marv, DK, Pickens, Addison, McConkey, Pearsall. A lot of rookies on this team. Trash cans. I love the trash can emoji in there. Musgrave, Chig. Trash. 5 and 6. Where do we have Lamar? Lamar for DJ Moore, 25 first and 26 first. Yeah, I'm confused. You don't have Lamar on this team. Get back to me on this. Let's see. Trade 2, DJ Moore and 105 for 102 and 108. What am I missing here? Because the trade you're asking for is Lamar, but you don't have Lamar. I like that deal. Lamar for DJ Moore, 25 first and 26 first, if I had the ability to get another quarterback, but you don't have Lamar on this team, so I'm a little confused. And then DJ Moore in the 105 for the 102 and the 408. I would consider doing that. Trade the 302 and 408 for Danny Dimes. First year starter plan was to go young and punt year 1. First time doing a dynasty team. Tell you what, Jay, I don't know if it's an error with us inputting the question or whatnot, but I'm a little confused as to where to go with this one just because the players you're asking about are not on your roster that you listed. And if they are, it changes the scope of probably what I would be planning to do here. So hit me back, hit one of us back. Just say it was Jay with the 3 hammers from the May 10th Scott solo stream, and just let me know, the context to this one, and we'll get back to you. So appreciate you, but just doesn't make sense with what we got, so I got to move on. Last one, hammer from Rogers, 10 team super flex, half point tight end premium, start 11, Burrow, Goff, trash, JT, Rashad White, Walker, Singletary, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Jacoby Myers, Cole Kmet, Dallas Goedert, 110, 210 futures. Okay, coming off winning the chip, congrats. At least you got the ship. It wasn't a team that I expected to be one that was dominant, so I'm glad you got a ship under your belt already. Just kind of seeing which direction you would go, all in again or full rebuild, activity mid. Thank you for the input. So back to the team. Burrow, Goff, trash. I mean, obviously you won last year. I don't know how you won last year with just Goff, but maybe you had some other guys filling in there. Maybe you had Browning or Flacco or one of those guys down the stretch that actually put up good enough numbers for you to win. JT, Rashad White, Ken Walker, Singletary. I mean, he had a couple guys that were good. Rashad Wright was good. Devin Singletary was good. JT was good at times. AJ Brown, Devontae, Amari. I mean, you probably got to the finals with that Amari game in week 16. So congrats on that. Not a team, again, that I expected that you can win with. So I don't like teams like this because it does feel like I'm pressured to make a big move. It does feel like I'm pressured to trade away my future picks. Like you could use upgrades at pretty much every position except for running back, because I think you have enough running backs you can get by. But what do I spend it on? And do I really want to do a deal where I kind of devalue my own first and I trade it for, I don't know, you give me Christian Kirk and, something else. You know what I mean? Like you're just trading for a couple pieces, but they're probably pieces that won't retain any value. So I'm almost feeling like this is a better off team where maybe you trade. Here's a compromise. If you don't want to completely tank, because here's the problem. I'm looking at this team and I go, okay, what could I completely tank from this team? It's a 10 team, so I'm not even sure what I can sell Burrow for. I can probably sell Burrow. Probably can't sell Goff, not in a 10 teamer. Some of my best assets are running backs. What can I sell Jonathan Taylor for? Rashad White for? A lot of these leagues, people don't want to buy those guys. They'll take them, but do they want to buy them? I could sell AJ Brown, but then everybody else, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, those are already lowest common denominator players. When they're on your team, they're parked on your team probably. So here's what I'd probably do. Is this team good enough to get lucky and make the playoffs and possibly pull an upset or two, maybe get to the finals? Sure, you have future picks. If it was this team, just every player on this team stayed healthy and you started tearing it up, you do have picks you could trade. But I don't want to do that now. I'd also be willing to hedge on trading away a guy like Rashad White, Ken Walker. Can I get a future first for one of those guys? Just bank the first. One of those running backs departing your team is not going to crush whether it's going to win or lose. So can I just move off of Rashad White or Ken Walker, bank a first, slide in another player, a cheaper player, but a player that was probably on my bench, and now they may make my lineup, but the difference between Ken Walker and those guys is not that big, or Rashad White and those guys is not that big. Hedge your bet on maybe a first. Maybe you sell Dallas Goedert for a second and just roll with Kmet. But the point is, sell a couple excess pieces, bank a little draft capital, and then reassess it mid-season. Do you want to push in or do you want to kind of hold it back? Because at least if you sold for some future picks, you're now looking at a team where you have 225 firsts and 225 seconds. And the reality is your team isn't going to die overnight, but it's probably going to go into next year with Joe Burrow, Jonathan Taylor, AJ Brown, and and you're hoping everybody else survives. Singletary, Godwin, Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams. You're just hoping all of those guys survive to give you another year. So moving some excess from the range where you're pretty sure they're year to year is a good way to hedge on a team like this. So good question, Rogers. Thank you for it. That's it for me. I'm going back to the beach. I'll be back in action coming this next Tuesday night. There will be no Destination Chill this week, so anybody that typically tunes into that, appreciate you, but there won't be one this week. Heck, I don't even know when this show is going to come out, but we'll be back Tuesday night with our stream. Some big stuff coming. Join the Discord, destinationdevy.com. Sign up for the Destination 5 tier on there. Gets you access to everything. And I may know a little something about things coming from Destination Devy here very soon. There's going to be more tools. There's going to be upgrades in some of the tools that we have. Destination 5 tier gets you everything. The Discord, every tier in the Discord gets you access to all the tools on the website. Like, you get it all, the full immersive experience. You can also join patreon.com/allgas. There's the Heisman tier in there, which gets you access to everything in the Discord. You just don't get the tools on the website, but everything in the Discord. So you get the Heisman, you get the voice chat, you get Ray and I literally hours every day just talking Dynasty. Then you get the Trades in 5 community that has our AMAs and has our Discord channels where there's just trades flying back and forth. So either destinationdevy.com, the Destination 5 tier, or patreon.com/allgas. Heisman or the DTI 5 tier gets you access to a lot of the Discord features. So with that, I will call it a show for today. Appreciate all of you, all the shout outs from the draft stream, all the hammers from the draft stream. It was a fun time. It's going to be even better. And at DD, be chill.